Hello students, we'll resume our discussion on this company accounts. In the previous session we have stopped at the point oversubscription and pro-rata allotment. From this topic we'll resume our discussion. So first of all, oversubscription and pro-rata allotment. When the number of shares applied by the public is more than the number of shares offered, then it is called oversubscription. Example, when the company has offered for sale 1 lakh shares, offered to the public 1 lakh shares, but the public has applied for 1,40,000 shares. Applications were received for 1,40,000 shares, but the company has offered only 1 lakh shares. It is called oversubscription. So when there is oversubscription, the company has to decide to whom we have to make the allotment and to whom we have to reject the application. So company has to take the decision how it is proper for the company. So there are different options available how to make the allotment when there is oversubscription. When there is oversubscription, how to make the allotment. The first case is the company may reject the application. When the company rejects the application, the company has to make the refund of the application money received. Refund of the application money received. Then in that case what will happen? The entry will be share application account data to bank. When we receive the application money, bank account data to share application. When we make the refund of application, share application account data to bank. So some applications the company can outrightly reject the application. This is the first alternative available to the company. The second alternative is the company may make full allotment. The company may make full allotment. For example, if an applicant has applied for 500 shares, he is allotted 500 shares. No rejection, complete allotment, 100% allotment. So this is the second case where whatever applications has been made, the full allotment is made by the company. The third one is pro-rata allotment. The pro-rata means proportional allotment. Proportion to the shares applied, in the ratio of shares applied. Example, if the company has offered 10,000 shares and the applications are received for 12,000 shares. The applications received were 12,000, but the company has offered to the public 10,000 shares. It's oversubscription. Now the company wants to make pro-rata allotment. So the ratio of allotment is 12,000 shares is to 10,000. 12,000 is to 10,000 means 12 is to 10 or 6 is to 5. 6 is to 5. For example, it means for every 6 shares applied for, the company will allot 5 shares. जो आदमी 6 शेयर्स के लिए अप्लाई करेगा उसको 5 शेयर अलॉट करेंगे. जो आदमी 12 शेयर के लिए अप्लाई करा उसको 10 शेयर अलॉट करेंगे. This is called proportional allotment or pro-rata allotment. Now what will happen in this pro-rata allotment is the excess application money received will not be refunded. The excess application money received will be adjusted towards the allotment and call money. For example, if a person has applied for 30,000 shares and he was allotted only 10,000 shares. 30,000 shares का application money दे दिया हो, लेकिन कंपनी उसको allotment करी है only 10,000 shares. तो 20,000 शेयर्स का एक्सेस एप्लीकेशन मनी आ गया. अब कंपनी क्या करेगी? जो एक्सेस एप्लीकेशन मनी आ गया उसको अलॉटमेंट मनी में और कॉल मनी में एडजस्ट करेगी. राइट? सो दिस इज द पॉइंट ऑफ ओवर सब्सक्रिप्शन एंड प्रो राटा अलॉटमेंट. नाउ फॉरफीचर ऑफ शेयर्स. द नेक्स्ट टॉपिक इज फॉरफीचर ऑफ शेयर्स. फॉरफीचर का मतलब कैंसिल. इफ ए शेयर होल्डर इज अनेबल टू पे द अलॉटमेंट मनी और कॉल मनी, the company will give him notice that if you do not pay the call money or allotment money within the so and so specified period, your shares will be cancelled, forfeited. Then whatever amount he has already paid to the company will not be refunded. That is called forfeiture of share. Example, a person has applied for 1,000 shares. He has paid the application money, he has paid the allotment money. When first call money becomes due, he is unable to pay the first call money. First call money नहीं दिया हो, तो company will give a notice that if you do not pay this call money within the so and so period, your shares will be forfeited. Even then, if the shareholder has not paid the call money, then the company has the right to forfeit his shares, cancel his shares. So for the entry for forfeiture of shares is share capital account debtor to shares forfeited account to call account, to share call account. Again I repeat, share capital account debtor to shares forfeited account to share call account. So in this entry, or call account, or you can write calls in arrear account. Calls in arrear account. In this case, share capital account is debited to cancel the shares. Shares forfeited account will be credited by the amount which has already paid by the shareholder. Shareholder जो application money, allotment money pay कर चुका है, उसको वो नए account में डाल देता है shares forfeited. Calls in arrear जो नहीं pay करा, उसको calls in arrear. By passing this entry, the shares forfeited will be affected. Then reissue of forfeited shares. जो shares forfeit कर लिए, उसको again the company will reissue to some other person. For example, earlier the shares were held by X, Mr. X. He was holding 1000 shares. He has not paid the call money, so his shares were forfeited. He ceased to be a shareholder now. अब उसके 1000 shares forfeit कर ली, company को forfeit कर ली. अब these 1000 shares the company can issue to any other shareholder, any other person. For example, Mr. Y. तो X के shares forfeit कर दिए और Y को reissue कर दिए. Reissue कर दिए. तो normally the reissue will be done at a discount. At a discount. In this case, the entry will be bank account debtor, shares forfeited account debtor to share capital. Bank account debtor, shares forfeited account debtor to share capital. This is the entry for forfeiture and reissue of shares. Now we'll come to the very important next topic called debentures. So far we have discussed about shares. Now we'll discuss the important topic about debentures. A company may raise a huge long-term funds through debentures also apart from shares. तो कंपनी के पास लॉन्ग टर्म फंड रेज करने का खाली एक ही मेथड शेयर्स नहीं है, शेयर्स को छोड़कर और एक मेथड भी है डिबेंचर्स. तो व्हाट आर डिबेंचर्स? डिबेंचर्स आर नथिंग बट द लोन टेकन फ्रॉम द पब्लिक. लोन टेकन फ्रॉम द पब्लिक बाय द कंपनी. तो कंपनी को लोन लेने के लिए खाली बैंक से लोन नहीं मिलता, बल्कि पब्लिक से भी लोन ले सकते हैं. तो पब्लिक के पास से जो लोन लेंगे, तो total loan amount will be divided into a number of smaller denominations, parts. Just like the total share capital is divided into number of parts called shares. इसी तरह total loan amount from the public is divided into a number of parts called debentures. Called debentures. So the meaning of debentures is, debenture is an acknowledgement of debt. It's a written instrument containing an acknowledgement of debt, containing the provisions regarding the payment of interest, repayment of principal, and the charge against this debentures. All these things are written on the instrument that is called debenture. It's an acknowledgement of debt. That company has taken a loan, the company has promised to pay so and so interest, so much of interest, and repayment will be done at so and so period, and these debenture holders will have so and so charge on the assets of the company. All these things are written in the instrument called debenture. So through debentures the company will raise the funds. Now what are the features of debentures? The first feature of debenture is it's a debt instrument. Share capital is the owner's fund. Shareholders are the owners. Share capital is owner's fund, whereas debenture is a debt fund. कर्ज, लोन. ये डिबेंचर एक लोन है, एक डेट है जो कंपनी को वापस करना है. तो फर्स्ट फीचर, it is a debt taken by a company from the public. Then secondly, debentures are issued for a long period of time. If the company requires short period loan, the loan can be taken from bank. But if the company wants to take a loan for a long period of time, then the company will issue debentures. It's a long-term debt instrument. Thirdly, debentures are entitled to interest, periodical payment of interest. On debentures, interest will be paid periodically. Normally, it will be paid every 6 months. Every 6 months at the rate specified at the time of issue. At that rate of interest, interest will be paid to the debenture holders. Next one is interest on debenture is to be paid irrespective of the profitability. Whether the company earns profit or loss, it is immaterial. Interest on debenture must be paid. Whereas dividend, it will be paid only when the company is having profit. No profit, no dividend. Whereas whether profit is there or not, immaterial, interest must be paid. Next one is debentures. Debenture holders are entitled for repayment of the amount lent. That means at the expiry of the term of the debenture period, the company has to repay, the company has to return back the principal amount to the debenture holders. Debenture holders don't have normally voting rights. Voting rights only shareholders will have. Shareholders can vote. Shareholders can take the part in the management just like by passing the resolutions. They have the voting power, whereas debenture holders won't have voting power. Generally, debentures will have a fixed or floating charge on the assets of the company. That means the secured debentures. The secured debentures will have a floating charge or fixed charge on the assets of the company. Suppose at the time of winding up of the company, the debenture holders will have a charge on a particular asset. They can be able to get back their principal amount or interest due by selling that asset. So these are some of the features of debentures. Now we'll discuss what are the differences between a share and a debenture. Many differences are there. First difference is a shareholder is the owner of the business. First one. Shareholder जो रहता है वो owner है, company का owner है, whereas debenture holder is an outsider. He is a loan creditor. He is a creditor who has provided loan to the company. So first difference, shareholder is a owner, debenture holder is an outsider loan creditor. Next, a person who owns the shares is called a shareholder, whereas a person who owns the debenture, he will be called as debenture holder. Next, a shareholder will get dividend. Next difference between share and debenture is a shareholder will get the dividend, whereas debenture holder will get the interest. Now, we'll get the interest. Next difference is payment of dividend is an appropriation of profit, because dividend is paid from the profit. If there is profit, then only dividend. But payment of interest is a charge on the revenue, because it is paid from the revenue generated. It is not concerned about the profit. The interest must be paid. So we can say dividend is an appropriation of profit, whereas payment of interest is a charge on the revenue. Next one is the rate of dividend. The rate of dividend may vary. The equity dividend rate will not be fixed. It will vary. Whereas the rate of interest on debenture is fixed at the time of issue of debenture itself. Next, there is no priority in payment of dividend, but there is priority in payment of interest. Without payment of interest, no dividend can be paid. In case of liquidation, debenture holders must be paid first before making any payment to shareholders. चाहे वो प्रेफरेंस शेयर होल्डर्स हो या इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर्स हो, सबको बाद में पहले डिबेंचर होल्डर्स को रिटर्न करना पड़ेगा at the time of winding up. Shares cannot be converted. Shares cannot be converted into debentures, but debentures may be converted into shares. There are no convertible shares which can be converted into debentures, but definitely there are debentures which can be converted into shares. So these are some of the differences between share and a debenture. Now we'll discuss about the kinds of debentures. Debentures can be classified into different categories, different types. The first different debentures are secured and unsecured debenture. On the basis of security, debentures can be classified into secured and unsecured. Security means when the debentures are issued on some security of the assets of the company, it is called secured debenture. Normally, the lender wants some security. जो आदमी लेंड कर रहा, दे रहा पैसे, उसको कुछ सिक्योरिटी चाहिए. एग्जाम्पल, बैंकर जब लोन दे रहा है तो कस्टमर को ये बोलता है कुछ सिक्योरिटी रखा है तो लोन मिलता. विदाउट सिक्योरिटी वी विल नॉट गिव यू द लोन. सिक्योरिटी प्रोवाइड करना। उसी तरह कंपनी पब्लिक को ये बोल रही आप लोन दो हमको, हम इंटरेस्ट पे करेंगे, पब्लिक बोलेंगे हमको कुछ सिक्योरिटी चाहिए, विदाउट सिक्योरिटी वी विल नॉट गिव द लोन, सो कंपनी हैज टू गिव द सिक्योरिटी। तो नॉर्मली द कंपनी विल से the debenture holders will have a charge on the assets of the company, on the building, on the property, on the stock. Then these are called secured debentures. If the company does not provide any security, it is called unsecured debentures. So in this way we have two types of debentures, secured and unsecured. Redeemable and irredeemable debentures. When the company issues debentures which has a specific time period, only during that time period the company will pay the interest. At the end of the expiry of the time period, the company will make repayment of the principal amount. It is called redeemable debentures. For example, company issues debentures stating that these debentures will be redeemed after 5 years. After 5 years. So till 5 years the debenture holders will get the interest. At the end of the 5th year, the debenture holder has to surrender back the debenture to the company will make the principal repayment. Redeemable debentures. Irredeemable debentures, the debentures which can be redeemed only at the time of liquidation. Only at the time of liquidation of the company. The company has not given any specific period of redemption. That is called irredeemable debentures. Next comes first debenture and second debenture. Regarding the priority, the debentures can be classified into first debenture and second debenture. First debenture will have the priority of getting back their money at the time of liquidation. When the company goes into liquidation, first of all, the assets should be sold. From the assets, from the sale proceed of asset, the first debenture holder's claim should be met. After meeting the claim of first debentures, then only the claim of second debentures can be paid. In this way, we can classify the debentures as first and second debentures depending on the based on the priority of repayment. Next, convertible and non-convertible debentures. Convertible debentures are those debentures which can be converted into shares after a specific period. The company at the time of issue itself, the company will declare that these debentures are convertible debentures. The debentures can be converted into shares after a period of 5 years. After a period of 5 years. So till 5 years, it will remain debentures. After 5 years, it may be converted into shares. Convertible. Non-convertible debentures, it will remain debenture only throughout the life. It will never be converted into shares. These are convertible, non-convertible. Now, bearer and registered debentures. Bearer debentures are those debentures which can be merely transferable by delivery without a registration. Just like bearer check. Bearer debentures are merely transferable by delivery without any registration, without any process, without any formalities. Just by delivery it will be transferred. Then how interest will be paid? The coupons are attached to these debentures. With the help of that coupons, interest will be paid to the debenture holders. But there is a lot of risk attached with this bearer debenture. So normally debentures are registered debentures. Registered debentures are those debentures which are transferable only through registration. If a person wants to transfer the registered debentures, he has to apply to the company. The company will maintain a register of debenture holders. The company will keep the name and address and details of the debenture holders. Then whenever there is a transfer, it should be recorded in the company. So interest will be paid only to the registered debenture holders. This is called bearer and registered debentures. So we have completed all the different kinds of debentures. Now we're moving on to accounting treatment for debentures. How the journal entries will be passed? How the journal entries will be passed when debentures are issued? Now we have two different cases. The first case, debentures are issued for a lump sum amount. And just like shares. Shares में क्या हो रहा है? When the shares are issued, the amount will be called up in different installments. application money, allotment money, first call, second call, like that. लेकिन डिबेंचर्स के लिए दो मेथड है, चाहे तो डिबेंचर पूरा लंप सम अमाउंट कॉल कर सकता, या डिबेंचर्स के लिए भी सेम शेयर्स के वैसा इंस्टॉलमेंट बेसिस पे कॉल कर सकता. बट नॉर्मली the debentures amount will be called up in lump sum amount. When the debenture amount is called up in lump sum amount, the following are the different situations. First situation, the debentures are issued at par and redeemable at par. Debentures are issued at par value and redeemable also at par value. यानी फॉर एग्जाम्पल 1 लाख रुपए के डिबेंचर्स इश्यू कर रहे हैं और रिडीमेबल भी 1 लाख रुपए के है. इन्हें एक्सपायरी जब हो जाएंगी, टाइम पीरियड खत्म हो जाएगा, तो कंपनी 1 लाख रुपीस ही देगा. तो ये टाइम पे एंट्री हो जाएगी बैंक अकाउंट डेटा टू डिबेंचर्स अकाउंट, बैंक अकाउंट डेटा टू डिबेंचर्स अकाउंट. अब सेकेंड केस ये, डिबेंचर्स आर इश्यूड एट डिस्काउंट बट रिडीमेबल एट पार. समटाइम्स कंपनी विल इश्यू द डिबेंचर्स एट अ डिस्काउंट. 1 लाख रुपीस के डिबेंचर्स है 90,000 रुपीस में कंपनी इश्यू कर रही, लेकिन रिडीमेबल एट पार. कंपनी प्रॉमिस कर रही कि मैच्योरिटी के बाद पूरे 1 लाख रुपीस देंगे. एंट्री विल बी बैंक अकाउंट डेटा 90,000, डिस्काउंट ऑन डिबेंचर्स अकाउंट डेटा 10,000 टू डिबेंचर्स 1 लाख. थर्ड केस, डिबेंचर्स इश्यूड एट प्रीमियम एंड रिडीमेबल एट पार. डिबेंचर्स इश्यूड एट प्रीमियम बट रिडीमेबल एट पार. इन दैट केस बैंक अकाउंट रिडीमेबल एट पार, यानी इश्यू करते वक्त 1,10,000 रुपीस में इश्यू कर रहे हैं और रिडम्पशन करते वक्त 1 लाख रुपीस ही रिडम्पशन होगा. तो इन दैट केस बैंक अकाउंट डेटा 1,10,000 टू डिबेंचर्स अकाउंट 1 लाख टू प्रीमियम ऑन डिबेंचर्स 10,000. दिस इज वन ऑफ द केस. लास्ट केस इज डिबेंचर्स इश्यूड एट डिस्काउंट बट रिडीमेबल एट पार वैल्यू और प्रीमियम. Issued at discount but redeemable at par value or premium. In that case, bank account debtor loss on issue of debentures account debtor to debentures account to premium on redemption account. Premium on redemption of debentures account. So these are the different entries. We are going to apply all these entries in the coming problems. But this is a brief discussion about the debentures when issued at a lump sum amount. Up second case, when the debentures are issued and amount is received in periodical installment. In that case, the same entries will be passed what we have done in case of issue of shares. Issue of shares में जैसा application money, allotment money, first call, final call था, या debentures के लिए भी debenture application, debenture allotment, debenture first call, debenture final call. The only difference is we should not write the share. Instead of share, we'll write on debenture. And don't write debenture capital. It is simply debenture. There we have written share capital. Here we are not writing debenture capital. He will write simply debentures account. That's it. These are the things regarding accounting treatment for issue of debentures. Now debentures issued as collateral security. Collateral security. When a company takes a loan from bank, apart from the normal security, the company may issue collateral security or secondary security or contingent security. This collateral security is only a conditional security. For example, a company wants to take a loan of rupees 10 lakh from the bank. Already security is provided, normal security is provided. Apart from that, the banker is insisting to give some extra security also. This extra security will be in the form of debentures. But these debentures, no interest will carry on these debentures. These debentures will stand only if the company is unable to pay the interest on time to bank. If the company is unable to repay the loan amount to bank, then only this collateral security of debentures will become active. Otherwise, it will it will be inactive. No journal entry is required, no adjustment is required in the books of accounts in the company. Just a note has to be given in the balance sheet that collateral security has been issued for taking this loan. That's it. If the company has paid all the interest and all the repayment of loan, then at the end of the full repayment of the loan, the banker will return back this collateral security of debentures. The company will cancel these debentures. No journal entry is required, nothing. If the company is unable to repay unable to repay the principal amount or interest amount, then the banker will become a normal debenture holder. Then the company has to pay interest on the debentures. That is called collateral security. Next, last one is redemption of debentures. Redemption of debentures का मतलब ये होता, the company will repay the amount of debentures at the expiry time period. So there are different ways, methods of redemption of debentures. The first method is the payment of debenture holders either at par or at premium. And by payment to debenture holders either at par or premium in lump sum. That's just like 10 years. The debentures period is 10 years. After 10 years, the company will repay the amount to debenture holders in lump sum amount, either at par value or at premium. This is the normal case of redemption of debentures. Secondly, redemption by annual drawings. Sometimes the company will make an arrangement that redemption will not be made in one lump sum, but annual drawing. साल को साल कुछ डिबेंचर को रिडीम करते जाएंगे. एग्जाम्पल 1 लाख रुपीस का डिबेंचर है, 10 ईयर है, तो कंपनी कह रही है कि एवरी ईयर 1/10 ऑफ द डिबेंचर को हम रिडीम करते जाएंगे. दिस इज कॉल्ड एनुअल ड्रॉइंग्स. थर्ड वन इज रिडम्पशन बाय परचेज ऑफ ओन डिबेंचर्स इन ओपन मार्केट. तो कंपनी क्या करेंगी, ओपन मार्केट में डिबेंचर्स बॉट एंड सोल्ड होते हैं, ट्रेड होते रहते हैं, तो कंपनी विल बाय बैक इट्स ओन डिबेंचर्स फ्रॉम द ओपन मार्केट एंड कैंसिल इट. जब भी कंपनी के पास एक्सेस फंड है, पैसा है, कंपनी मार्केट से अपने ओन डिबेंचर खरीदेंगी और कैंसिल करके छोड़ देंगी. दिस इज वन ऑफ द मेथड ऑफ रिडम्पशन. लास्ट वन इज रिडम्पशन बाय कन्वर्जन ऑफ डिबेंचर्स इनटू शेयर्स. द लास्ट मेथड इज द कंपनी कैन कन्वर्ट द डिबेंचर्स इनटू shares. These are the different methods of redemption of debentures. So we have completed so far the topics regarding issue of shares and debentures. The next topic is regarding underwriting of shares and debentures. Underwriting of shares and debentures. That will take up in the next session. Next video will take up the last topic, underwriting of shares and debentures. After completing that, we'll start the problems.